ridiculously embarrassing to admit this, but I think I have to, and that is that I'm desperate. Hi, James here. I can't believe I'm making this video right now, but I feel like this can't hurt, and I don't think it'll turn into a scandal either, so I guess here goes nothing. I had the mentality that I could reach out to literally anybody and use my Explore page and For You page as a dating app. I want to play TikTok Bachelor. But that's just not how dating works, literally at all. It's gross, it's weird, and it's desperation.
It's just this big open secret that's been an open secret for so long, and yet he just keeps skating on by.
My hope has always been to be in a relationship with somebody around my age or older. I'm not physically attracted to older guys, which sucks. Like I would date like the absolute youngest, like 18, 19 that looks a little bit older. And I'm making a promise to all of you right now on camera that I will be way more careful moving forward with every single person that I speak to.
Before we get into the video, please do not send hate to anybody mentioned in this video. All opinions are my own and opinions are not facts. Hey, what's up you guys? Welcome back to my channel. So today is a part 3 of my James Charles series, and that means there is a part 1 and 2. And just a quick recap, part 1 we go over the allegations with Isaiah, and in part 2 we do a deep dive into James's past. So if you have not seen either one of those videos, I highly recommend watching them before you get into this video, and I will link both of them in the description box down below. Today we are going to go over the new boys that have come forward in the past week, and we are also going to get into James's apology video, and we're going to dissect the lies that he told in that video. But before we get deep into the video, please make sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you're new, turn on all post notifications so you don't miss any uploads in the future. On March 26th, Variety reported that a YouTube rep confirmed that James Charles would not be returning to Instant Influencer Season 2. This is what was said. Beauty vlogger James Charles will not be hosting a second season of YouTube's Instant Influencer reality competition show. A YouTube rep confirmed that Charles won't be returning to the show, but declined to provide a reason. Previously, the video platform had announced that he would be hosting the second season. And then it went on to say, we can confirm Season 2 of YouTube original series Instant Influencer will take a new creative direction, including a new host. A YouTube spokesperson said in a statement to Variety, we thank James for the first season and look forward to building on the show's success by expanding the opportunity to showcase a diversity of creators across the YouTube platform in our upcoming season. Now this is interesting since they did confirm James would be returning for a second season, and now they are acting like they are taking a new creative direction right after James admitted to this. Even though they didn't provide a reason, it's my opinion that they did this because of James's scandal, and to that I say good for them, but it isn't good enough. Personally, I think they should be temporarily demonetizing James, just like they have recently done with Dom from the Blog Squad, David Dobrik, and last year Shane Dawson. James literally admitted to this twice, so the fact that YouTube isn't keeping the same energy with James is quite frustrating. He literally admitted to this, so I don't understand what more they need to take some more action against James. Now that same day, March 26th, Noodles ended up tweeting about a merch designer that James Charles reached out to. James wanted to team up with this designer to help with some sisters apparel, and the designer said this. Okay, so not that James Charles sliding in my DMs trying to make a bag off me. Don't worry guys, I called him out, literally caught in 4K. And he attached a bunch of screenshots of a DM conversation between him and James reached out to this person and he said, my team and I are trying to reach out to you. We're wondering if you'd be interested in working on some new sisters apparel. I absolutely love your merchandise, what you do, and what it stands for. I love this. Looking forward to a response from you soon. And then the merch designer replied back to James Charles and he said, yeah bro, I got you. And he put an orange jumpsuit with sisters all over the front of it. And James ended up reacting to that photo and he did like a laughing reaction to it. And then the merch designer replied back with, I don't work with And I want you guys to really pay attention to these screenshots because they don't look fake. They look 100% real. He also attached a couple screenshots of James blocking him after he replied back to him. Now, that same day that Def Noodles posted this, James tweeted out the following: I keep getting tagged in a tweet from a small brand claiming I messaged them asking to design my merch. This interaction is completely fake. I've never spoken to them and they've blocked me, so I can't respond. And you guys just seen the screenshots. They don't look fake at all. They look legit. He's got everything when you screenshot it from your phone, down to the little bar at the bottom of your iPhone, to the timestamps and the battery percentage. The screenshots all look legit. This tweet is an obvious downright lie. And people sounded off in the comments of James's tweet and they said the following: looks legitimate to me. I mean, you are a predator, so no wonder people don't want to work with you. And then somebody else actually felt sorry for James and they said, I feel sorry for you, to be honest. And James replied with, it's annoying, but it's even more concerning that these drama channels and news outlets report on these types of things as if they are fact. Somebody else says, why you gotta lie though? And then there were some more against James. However, sending inappropriate messages to isn't. And somebody else commented, everyone is lying all the time, huh? How convenient. And then somebody else replied with, LOL, why would they block you? Aren't they the ones reaching out? And then the last one says, I think that's the least of your worries right now, bucko. So before I get deep into the new allegations, a TikTok resurfaced from last year that James Charles posted. He made a public TikTok that he called TikTok Bachelor, where he was asking for single men to duet him so that he could find love. This is the clip I'm talking about. Roll the clip.
Hi, James here. I can't believe I'm making this video right now, but I feel like this can't hurt and I don't think it'll turn into a scandal either, so I guess here goes nothing. I made one major observation after downloading TikTok a few weeks ago, and that is that this app is pretty much a dating app. Let's be real. Everyone on here is either in a very cute relationship or is painfully single, and unfortunately for me, I fall into that second group of people. Surprise, surprise. In 2020, however, I'm trying to change that. Okay, I'm trying to put myself out there a little bit more, and I want to get wiped up. So I want to play TikTok Bachelor. My name is James Charles. I'm 20 years old and I am 5'10". I live in Los Angeles, California, and I am a beauty YouTuber. So sometimes I look pretty, and when I don't look pretty, I have a pretty fun personality to make up for it. I'm a very hard worker, but in my free time, I like horror movies, escape rooms, singing with friends, eating at new restaurants, and also I have fun nails for back scratching and cuddling. If those things are of interest of you and you are a male, leave me a comment down below, or I guess duet this video. Oh my god, what have I done?
So the reason I wanted to go ahead and play this is because can you guys imagine how many boys actually responded to this or just sent him a DM wanting to talk to him? It had to be in the thousands. Given the circumstances of how many people are coming forward, I just can't even wrap my head around how many boys James was talking to inappropriately. This was just so irresponsible of James to do. And once again, this isn't normal for a famous influencer to put himself out there like this unless he did it to prey on people. I don't know his true intentions behind this, but seeing this TikTok, it just gives me an uneasy feeling. But let's get into the more recent allegations against James. On March 30th, another underage boy named Jake uploaded a video to his TikTok about James Charles. Now, this kid only seems to be about 15 or 16 years old. In the TikTok Jake uploaded, he posted a series of screenshots of a Snapchat conversation that happened between him and James. I am not going to play the TikTok because of copyright, but we are going to go through the full conversation. On November 29th, 2020, James wished the kid a happy birthday, which makes me wonder if he knew about his age up front. I think he probably did because I think he knows a lot of these kids' ages up front. Then on December 13th, 2020, James reached out to this kid again and he said, "What the f is your problem posting screenshots of my snaps on your private story? I strongly recommend that you keep my name out of your mouth or we're gonna have a major problem." And then he also went on to say, "I'd love to remind you that you're the one that called me cute and said that you were bi and into me." Jake replies, "Hold up." James replies, "Get a life and respect people's privacy." Jake replies, "We already talked about this." James replies, "That's a complete lie, you idiot. You're backpedaling because you got caught." And then Jake replies, no bad intentions whatsoever. James replies, don't ever speak about me again. I added you and minded my own business until you called me cute and started flirting with me, saying you were bi. People who can't respect privacy are the lowest of the low. Jake replied, I completely understand that. And then James replied, you clearly don't understand that. And then Jake replies, I never intended anything bad by posting that. And if anyone says you did do something wrong, I can assure you that you did not. James replies, I know I didn't. You did by violating my privacy. Get your friend in line before I do. Lying about your age to bait someone is against the law, by the way. Jake replies, I didn't delete anything. And which messages? James replies, the messages of you admitting you lied about your age. I saved them and they're gone. Jake replies, I don't know, but I can promise you I didn't delete anything. LOL. And then on March 11th, it shows a deleted chat, but before that point, there was no other deleted messages. And then I guess Jake reached out to James again and said, hey. Now the kid did attach a couple pictures that James sent to him, like this one that said, oh, okay, good night, cutie. And then this one that said, that would be so cute. Jake also clarified about the deleted message at the end of the messages, and he said the following. The chat I deleted was from March 11th, and it was a story I slid up on. That was the only way for me to get back in our chat since he unadded me. All of the other texts are from December, and you can tell they're all from December because we just went through all of them. Now, a couple things. James is very out of line in these messages. He is threatening the kid, saying he broke the law when James is the one that has been doing things that are clearly against the law. I don't know if James just thinks nobody is ever going to leak their private messages or what, but come on, he can't be this dumb. He is James Charles, and he is talking to so many of his fans inappropriately. What did James think was going to happen? Shortly after Jake uploaded this TikTok, it was taken down, and Jake uploaded a second TikTok apologizing for taking it down. He then replied to someone in the comments, and he said the following. Parents made me take it down because apparently they got contacted by the police. Everything in the video is 100% real. In my opinion, this is what came to my mind when I read this message. So Isaiah said he went to the police after all this went down, and he posted it online. We heard there was a case number and everything, and I don't see the police doing absolutely nothing about this. This is a serious crime. So what I think is going on is they are investigating James, they are building a case against James, and they are gathering as much information as possible before they actually act on this. I could be wrong, but I would think something like this is taken very seriously. Now moving on, another person came forward about James around the same time as Jake, and he put out the following tweet. Didn't really have a bad experience with this guy, but my friend did. Anyways, the way he talks just proves other people's stories and how it's a constant reoccurring theme. I don't know, maybe this will help someone with this whole James Charles thing. I feel bad for the other guys. And then he attached DM conversations that happened on Instagram. I am not going to read all of these just to save some time, but I will put them up on the screen and you can pause to read if you want to. The DMs here on the screen are not from a person that is underage, but this guy is saying that he had a friend that went through a similar experience with James. Someone asked him how old his friend was, and he said that he was 17. Now, I couldn't find any proof of his friend though. Just keep that in mind. He also said the following, like, I'm definitely not saying it was for me a personal situation at all. I'm just saying if you read the way he DMs me when he first talks to me compared to all of the other coming out about their situations, it's the exact same format. Now moving on, if you watched part 2, you saw the clip of James Charles' best friend from high school talk about how James catfished the school's soccer team, and around the same time of Jake coming forward, someone else from James's hometown posted the following TikTok. Check it out.
Is it just me, or does like everybody from the 518 just know that James Charles catfished his whole high school soccer team for all their and like nobody ever says anything? Like, I've never seen it really go like publicly or anything, but I've talked to so many people in the 518 about like James Charles, and they're like, oh my god, you know, the catfish situation, like we all know it, but all the people from his hometown just don't say anything. Like, what?
It's unclear if this is 100% true because there has been no legitimate proof to back this up, but there have been numerous people that have come forward and talked about this. But since there's no concrete proof, take with this what you will. Now, moving on, with all of this going on, there has been someone that has been ignoring all of this, and that is Morphe. People have been contacting Morphe a great deal about James's behavior and calling them out because when Jeffree Star got canceled last year, Morphe dropped Jeffree with hardly any proof online. But with James admitting to this, you would think Morphe would drop him as well, right? Nope. Actually, Morphe dropped on their Instagram a restock of James's palette, and Morphe got a ton of heat for it. They were getting so much heat for it that they ended up removing their post altogether. Now, there are rumors that Morphe has created an entire makeup line with James, and all the product is sitting in a warehouse ready to go. And that is why Morphe hasn't dropped James. In a tweet put out by Ridge.X, he said the following: "According to my sources, Morphe brushes and Forma brands already have James Charles sister cosmetics sitting in a warehouse ready to go. So for these brands to drop James Charles, it would cost them millions of dollars. But Jeffree Star, Shane Dawson get dropped super fast." Even Tati and Breaking My Silence mentioned this. Roll the clip.
Before the scandal occurred, I had also been told that James Charles was about to develop an entire cosmetics line with the owners of Morphe. This entire situation opens up a Pandora's box of speculation, but I'm just not sure anyone counted on this drama spreading like wildfire.
Okay, so this is my speculation because I heavily believe James was behind Jeffree and Shane getting canceled. I also heavily believe that James forced Tati to make Breaking My Silence. The reasons and details are for another video, but due to the fact that Jeffree was completely blindsided when Morphe dropped his cosmetics line, I think James gave Morphe an ultimatum. It never made sense to me why Morphe dropped Jeffree because Jeffree Star Cosmetics made Morphe unique because you couldn't buy it anywhere else but off of Jeffree's website. So Morphe was the only place you could walk into and buy a JSC product. I feel Morphe dropped him because James wanted it, and Morphe knew with the investment and James's rising popularity that Sisters Cosmetics would be more than enough to make up for it once it launched. And also, they released the D'Amelio's cosmetics line, Morphe 2, shortly after they dropped Jeffree. So that's why I think it was a quick decision and a huge blindside. But again, that is just me speculating. But with James's scandal, Morphe is going to lose a lot of money. People are already returning a lot of James's palette back to the Morphe store, and I have a feeling it is going to get a lot worse for Morphe in the next few weeks as more comes out with James Charles. I don't even think we are near the end of this with James. Now, there was an update recently posted by Ridge.X on April 9th. This email was actually emailed to one of my subscribers, Chanel. Nice job, Chanel, getting this response from Morphe. She ended up reaching out to Morphe, and Morphe responded to her with the following statement: "We understand your concerns and we take this situation very seriously. Morphe does not condone inappropriate online behavior of any form. It is and has always been our goal to create a positive, safe, and empowering space where all beauty lovers can freely share their artistry and passion for cosmetics. We have been actively looking into the recent allegations against James Charles and have suspended marketing of Morphe x James Charles collaboration while we continue to evaluate and monitor the situation." Did you guys hear that? Marketing. They have suspended marketing only, not suspended the product or anything like that, only marketing while they look into the recent allegations. What exactly are you looking into, Morphe? Because James has literally admitted to this twice. He has been caught multiple times messaging inappropriate messages to underage teenagers. So what more information do you need in order to drop him? I understand they probably have a lot of money wrapped up in James Charles, but this to me is just completely unacceptable because of how quick they have dropped influencers in the past. Now moving on April 1st, James Charles uploaded an apology video titled "Holding Myself Accountable," where James once again admitted to being reckless reckless and not verifying ages of the guys he was talking to. This apology seemed very forced, and to be quite honest, he didn't seem sorry at all. I still believe James doesn't think he has done anything wrong. There are also downright lies in this video, and we're going to dissect those lies. Roll the clip.
In case anybody isn't aware of what's going on, within the past couple of weeks, 2 different people, both under the age of 18, have recently come forward saying that they had inappropriate messages with me on social media. One of them being from last year and one of them being from more recent. In both of these cases, I added these people on Snapchat, asked how old they were right away, was told that they were 18, believed them, engaged in a flirty conversation, and then later on found out that they were actually 16. Upon finding out, I was immediately embarrassed and blocked both people.
Okay, so the first thing I want to mention is, did you hear what he just said? The tall kid that recently came forward named Jake, that interaction was back in 2020. James just admitted that allegedly Jake lied about his age, and that he was well aware that Jake lied about his age back in 2020. And if you look at the receipts where James is going off on the kid, they are dated in 2020. The point of me pointing this out is, let's just say James isn't checking into these people and that he is believing them when they lie about their age. Well, this is the second kid from last year that James was aware these kids weren't being honest about their age. So why wouldn't he look into the Isaiah kid when that situation happened? Because according to James, Ethan, the 14-year-old, lied about his age too. So right there just shows that James has had 2 instances where these kids were lying about their ages and he got away with it, but then continues to flirt with these people that are underage in the present time. In my opinion, James knew all of their ages all along. But if I'm wrong about that, James has had plenty of warnings, and this should never have happened with Isaiah. Also, I want to point out that Jake's TikTok, the 15-year-old that's really tall, it's not hard to find his age. Check out this screenshot. He clearly talks about his age a lot on his TikTok. Also, I want to talk about how James is saying he blocked these boys once he found out about their ages. Now, the kid that came forward on March 30th, Jake, it does seem like James stopped conversation with him because he made him mad, but the fact that he is lying about blocking Isaiah, and even though he doesn't mention Ethan in this video, James didn't block Ethan either. First up, let's talk about Isaiah. When James put out his notepad statement, Isaiah replied with the following tweet. James, we both know I blocked you. You never asked for my age. After I told you I was 16, you proceeded to ask me for inappropriate photos and said it didn't matter. You called me hot and said I wish the timeline could speed up so that you could be 18. And then Isaiah attached a screenshot of his blocked list, and it shows James Charles' account on that list. So it appears that Isaiah blocked James, not the other way around. Also, in that tweet, Isaiah said that James never asked his age. Isaiah was the one that said his age because he was getting really uncomfortable. Recently, someone else came forward about talking to James online, and even though he was well over 18, he still looked really young at the time of talking to James, and he specifically said that James never asked him about his age. Check it out.
James here. I can't believe I'm making this video right now, but I feel like this can't hurt, and I don't think it'll turn into a scandal either, so I guess here goes nothing. I made one major observation after downloading TikTok a few weeks ago, and that is that this app is pretty much a dating app. Let's be real.
And then this is the only screenshot I have, because after we started talking on Snap, I wasn't like the other boys where I was like taking a picture off a different device. I do want to say for the record, like, I definitely was into him. Like, I was the one who duetted the video. I wanted to talk to him, but I changed my mind. Like, I just didn't like the way he was speaking to me, like demanding control. Like, I don't know, just didn't vibe with me. I also do want to mention this was like a year ago. A lot happens in a year. People do change. I'm not saying he changed or anything, but I don't think any of us relates to who we are like a year ago. Another thing is we never talked about my age. Like, at the time I definitely did look young. I was legal. I was 21 at the time, don't worry. But once I started growing out my facial hair, I don't know if this has any correlation. We kind of stopped talking because I don't know.
So yeah, he does look well over 18 in the present time, but that older video, he looks a lot younger, and you would think James would definitely be asking the age of anyone he is talking to, because people can look a lot older than they really are, or they can look a lot younger than they are. It's just not a risk you want to take, especially if you are someone like James Charles. Now, going back to who blocked who, let's talk about Ethan Andrew. He showed DMs in his video, and it clearly shows that Ethan blocked James. Also, in a video uploaded by Dustin Dailey, when this scandal came out, James gave Dustin some DMs to read, and this is what Dustin said in the video. Roll the clip.
But James sent me some DMs, and it was a picture of this kid in the mirror, and then it was James saying the eye roll emoji, and he said LOL back again, and this guy said, nah, just got something to say. James said, question mark, someone sent me that podcast of you and Logan. Kind of felt like shade was thrown. And James replied to him and said, at you? And this guy replies and says, yeah. James replied to him and said, I promise that I haven't thought about you since you blocked me on Snapchat for the third time, LOL.
James claims he knew Ethan lied about his age when all this came to the surface. So why is it that Ethan is blocking James and not the other way around? To me, James saying that he is blocking these kids after he finds out their age is complete BS. James isn't blocking anyone because of their age. It's usually the kids that are blocking James because James made them extremely uncomfortable.
Later on, when I saw them making videos about it and those videos going viral, my immediate reaction, completely honestly, was to be really, really upset. I wanted to get on camera and film another No More Lies video where I gather all my receipts and all my screenshots and try to tell my side of the story and then just move on from the situation. And now, looking back, that was so stupid, because as I did more research on these topics and self-reflected, I realized that the receipts and the screenshots and the specific details of the interaction really don't matter, because I f***ed up. And I needed to take accountability for my actions and, most importantly, apologize to the people that were affected by them. These conversations should have never happened, point blank period. There's no excuse for it, there's no ifs, ands, or buts, and I take full responsibility for that. I trusted the information that was given to me rather than the information I could have and should have gotten myself. In both of these situations, doing research into these people's public social media profiles would have revealed their true ages, and therefore these conversations would have never happened in the first place, but I didn't do the research, and that is what is so embarrassing. As an adult, it is my job and my responsibility to verify who I'm talking to, and therefore there is no one to blame for this other than myself. To the guys involved with this situation, I want to say, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I added you, I'm sorry that I flirted with you, and I'm really sorry if I ever made you uncomfortable. It is completely unacceptable.
So what I have to say to this, if he truly felt this way and felt he is so much in the wrong, why did he have to plant that little seed that these kids gave him the wrong information? Which I would like to also point out, James has never given any proof on of them lying about their ages. And secondly, if he was truly sorry to the victims, especially Isaiah, why is it after his notepad statement did he follow a fan that was heavily victim blaming Isaiah to another person that was letting James know that what he did was unacceptable? I am not going to read all these tweets, but you can pause to read if you want to. But you could clearly see this person is blaming Isaiah, and after a long thread of a bunch of back and forth, James ended up following this person, as you can see here in these screenshots. The other thing that James did was like a post from some random account that was once again heavily blaming Isaiah for shady behavior. This account put absolutely no proof of the claims that they were making and just typed out a notepad statement. And of course, James liked the post. So James, if you absolutely feel you are so much in the wrong, why are you quietly doing things like this that paint a 16-year-old minor in a negative light? It's because, in my opinion, you aren't genuine with what you are saying in this video. I seriously don't think that James thinks he has done anything wrong. But let's continue listening to his apology.
I was being reckless, and after looking back and finally realizing that this was my own fault, I started doing a lot of thinking and reflecting to really try and figure out why I was actually allowing myself to be so reckless in the first place. In all other areas of my life, my friends, my business, I like to think of myself as pretty put together and on top of things, and I couldn't understand why relationships were the one outlier. Why were they not working? Why was this area of me so different? And I finally came to a conclusion. It sucks, and it is ridiculously embarrassing to admit this, but I think I have to, and that is that I'm desperate. I do understand that with these videos coming to light, it's really starting to, not even starting, it's really looking, period, like I'm actively searching for younger people to be in a relationship with, and I just want to say firsthand that that is absolutely not the case. My hope has always been to be in a relationship with somebody around my age or older that I can relate to and that can make me laugh. And unfortunately, I've not been able to find that person yet.
So first of all, he says that he is desperate for love and a relationship, and I'm just going to call that out right now. A lot of these conversations we have seen are more for lust than love. To just bluntly say it, he's looking for someone to get him off rather than someone to be in a relationship with. Pretty much every conversation we have seen up to this point seems that way. Also, why would he be talking to so many people at one time if he was looking for a relationship? We have seen this as far back as Gage and Sam, the waiter from Seattle, because James was talking to them both at the exact same time. James is a player. He isn't desperately searching for someone to be in a relationship with. Now, the other thing he just said is he's looking for someone around his age or someone older. Now that's hilarious, considering that he was on a podcast less than a year ago and said this. Roll the clip.
Are you looking for love on a
So,
long-term,
yes,
like longevity?
yes.
Because I hear these stories. We talked about it, and,
Yeah.
and like, how is your love life? Yeah. Why?
Okay, so the thing is, for me, I'm 21, but like I said, I have the mentality of a 40-year-old.
Yeah.
So for me, like, I'm much more mentally and emotionally mature than a lot of people my age. I'm not physically attracted to older guys, which sucks. Like, I would date like the absolute youngest, like 18, 19 that looks a little bit older, or like 24 that like has a young personality.
Okay.
I've talked to a lot of different guys that that live in different states as well. This is a better example than just dinner. Like, I've talked to guys that live in different states and stuff, and I'm like, hey, like, why don't you come visit? And like, well, I can't afford a plane ticket. And it's like, okay, well, I can. So like, get on the plane. And like, well, I just don't really feel comfortable with that. But like, I love you and I really want to be together. And I'm like, well, we can't be together because you can't afford a plane ticket. You're probably still in either high school or college, like a senior in high school or in college.
Right.
So we got James on camera saying the opposite of what he stated in his apology video. Not only did he state that he was into younger guys, but he also slipped up and said that the guys he dates are either in high school or college. And I don't know many 21-year-olds that are in high school. I played this in part 2, but I had to play it again since James is clearly telling the truth in this podcast versus straight up lying in his apology video.
But the idea of actually being in a relationship became so important to me that I was willing to trust too quickly, miss out on red flags, and most importantly, not take the precautionary measures that really anybody, but especially somebody with a public platform, should be taking before talking to anybody. And there's no excuse for that. In 2019, my dating life became even more public than it already was when I was called out and labeled as. You guys, I feel like at this point all know the story, so I don't want to go back into details, but pretty much I had to get on camera and prove that I was being lied to. I had all the receipts to back it up, but at the time I also recognized that I definitely needed to change the way I was going about dating because clearly something was not working. And in that video, I made a vow and a promise to myself and to you guys as the audience that I would be way more careful moving forward. And that promise was not one that I kept. Looking back now and just trying to do my best to piece this all together in my head, I think that my lack of experience when it came to dating growing up, and then all of a sudden having a lot of attention from different types of men, some for good reasons and some for bad reasons, really affected me in ways that I didn't quite understand. I honestly just thought that I had really, really bad luck and that I was being taken advantage of when that wasn't the case at all. And I had the mentality that I could reach out to literally anybody and use my Explore page and For You page as a dating app. And eventually I would just happen to find the right person, but that's just not how dating works literally at all. It's gross, it's weird, and it's desperation. When these videos started to come to light, power imbalance became a really large topic of conversation on social media, and rightfully so. In 2019, when I had my whole situation, I was accused of abusing my fame, money, and power to get what I wanted. And when I responded to that at the time, I said that that was disgusting and that I would never want to do that. And to this day, I still stand behind that sentiment 1000%. So when it was getting brought up again, I got really, really frustrated and was trying to understand because I was thinking to myself like, okay, I know that this situation shouldn't have happened. I know that this conversation shouldn't have occurred. I take responsibility for that. But at the same time, like, they DM'd you first. They lied to you. They flirted first. Like, you didn't use your fame, money, and power to get anything.
Okay, so the first statement I want to talk about in what he just said is they DM'd you first. They lied to you. They flirted first. You didn't use your fame, money, and power, blah, 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 blah. So once again, this is a downright lie. First, let's take a look at James's statement when Isaiah came forward. There is one sentence in the statement that proves that he is lying about them reaching out first. Last week, I came across someone on my Instagram Explore page, saw he followed me, and added him on Snapchat. This statement shows that James sought out this kid, not the other way around. He is James Charles. Of course, more than likely, the kid is already following him. James has millions of followers, but James is the one that found his Snapchat and added him. What did James think was going to happen? Of course, if he added the kid was going to send a message once he realized James added him. I have a hard time believing James didn't send a message to the kid when he added him, but again, it doesn't matter. James was the one that acted first, not Isaiah. Now, the other thing I want to bring up is after James's apology video came out, another kid who was only 17 came forward, and this is the DM conversation that he posted. And as you can see here, James is the one that reached out to the kid first. It says, "Hey," the kid replies with "Hi," and James says, "I saw you on my For You page and thought you were super handsome, so I just wanted to say hello." And then you can see a bunch of pictures and stuff like that was sent to the kid, and it doesn't even look like he asked for his age in any of this. The point that I am making is James is reaching out to them first, not the other way around. So him dropping that seed in there to say he wasn't using his fame or power with these kids is just ridiculous. And the fact that he is using his Explore page and For You page to find boys is absolutely embarrassing for an influencer and just flat out gross, because he isn't even asking for the ages up front before flirting and telling them that they are handsome. Also, when all this came up during Bi Sister, he got so much heat about the power imbalance, so the fact that he is acting like he didn't understand that is complete BS. If you've seen part 2 of this series, you can tell James has been using his fame and power to manipulate a lot of people he's been talking to in the past.
But I've now realized that that mentality is completely wrong, because a power imbalance can happen even when it's not intentional. What I wasn't getting before is that the excitement that comes with talking to a celebrity is literally enough to make somebody do or say something that they normally wouldn't, even if that celebrity isn't intentionally weaponizing their fame, money, or power. And that's the concept that I just wasn't getting, but I now do. Even though I'm able to turn off my social media and just talk to somebody outside of the spotlight about something normal, in normal clothes and no makeup on as James Dickinson, that doesn't change the fact that to them, I'm still James Charles. And that's something that I can't turn off. For me, having a public platform has become such a huge part of my life that at this point, it does feel normal. But I have to understand that to 99.9% of people, it's not normal and will never be normal. And that's where the power imbalance lies that I wasn't understanding. But I'm so glad that I finally do, because like I said in 2019, taking advantage of that power imbalance is something that I would never ever want to do, but unintentionally was. I should have been more careful in every single way when it comes to the ways that I was looking for a relationship. I didn't do the proper research, and for that, I'm once again ashamed and embarrassed. I can't take it back as much as I wish that I could, but I am really, really glad that I now fully understand the situation, so I'm able to do better in the future, and I really hope to show that to you guys. This whole situation has been so embarrassing and I'm ashamed, but like I said, I'm now educated and fully understand what went on. And I'm making a promise to all of you right now on camera that I will be way more careful moving forward with every single person that I speak to. My For You page and Explore page are not dating apps, and I will stop treating them as if they are. I also have already started asking for proper identification from every single guy that has either reached out or that I was speaking to, and will continue doing so for the rest of time. I now understand the root of the problem. I understand how and why I, and only I, caused myself to get into this situation. I understand that this could have and should have been easily avoided, and I also understand that I need to be aware of my platform at all times. I didn't understand how a situation like this could affect the people involved, but now I do. And for that, to the victims, I am so, so sorry. And I promise that something like this will never, ever happen again. I'm going to be taking some time away to reflect and further educate myself on these topics. I think at this point, it's really important that I do so I'm able to follow through with my word and prove to you guys that I will be a better person. Even though I won't be here posting, I do want people to know that I will still be here, available, listening, and learning. And I hope to never disappoint you again. See you soon.
He has already broken so many promises he made and no more lies, and him saying that he doesn't realize people view him as only James Charles is just BS to me. If you watched part 2, he was so manipulative towards Gage, and given every single time someone comes forward against James, he always uses the excuse they want clout. James constantly uses his fame and power not only with the people he is talking to online, but also when it comes to scandals like this that come up, because according to James, they are always clout chasing. After James posted this video, the response was so positive, especially with the like to dislike ratio, and it was pretty unbelievable. But now that the video has been up for a week, public opinion is now shifting, and a lot of new victims have come forward. I just don't see James surviving any of this, but given the fact that certain channels refuse to cover him, this may eventually calm down to the point of James getting away with it. Now moving on, as James was making this apology video, another alleged victim came forward. The kid said he was only 16 years old, and he posted a series of screenshots from Snapchat, which were pictures of James saying things like, "Do you have a nice body?" or "Do you shave your body?" or "I'm just laying around here bored and ha ha ha," or "It would literally take you 30 seconds to send a pic like this, ha ha ha." And then he also said, "Just take the pic, dumbass." And then he said, "Ah, okay, got it. You give off big D energy, lol." And then he also said, "Come pick me up for some roadhead." And then the kid also posted a screenshot of James Charles saying, "Holy shit, that's literally perfect." Now this account was deleted shortly after he uploaded this TikTok, so I don't know why these accounts keep disappearing. I personally think it's James reaching out to these people, threatening some type of legal action if they don't take down their videos, or it could be the cops reaching out to these people if they are investigating James Charles. But that's just me speculating on that. Another thing that came up the day of James's apology video, a guy that James knew made a TikTok saying that James was paying him for inappropriate photos. Now this person is over the age of 18, but it's still strange behavior for a famous influencer. The guy that made this TikTok said it was consensual and that James did nothing wrong. But I want to go ahead and play this for you guys because I found it interesting. Roll the clip.
Hi guys, yes, I did that. And you would do it too for a check. I was an employee. And I was going to get employee of the month. And that's a period.
Just real quick, I wanted to emphasize that actually James did nothing wrong. That was like a consensual thing. Like, he said, "Yo, send me pics, I'll give you money." And I said, and then I did it. So
now these next screenshots I'm going to show you, the kid was 18 years old, but again, it shows a pattern of behavior from James. He talks to so many people online. I can't even tell you what the count is of how many people have come forward and how many people that are actually underage, because it's getting to a point where there's so many of them. But this person came forward, and here's some screenshots of what they put. I'm not going to read through all of them. You can pause to read if you want to. I just want to show you guys this. Now the next victim that you're going to see up on the screen is another 16-year-old, and this 16-year-old showed pictures of James talking to him once again. And if you look at the kid's profile, it says that he is 16 years old. This kid did put a caption on this video. I think it was meant as a joke. He did say, "I'm 18 though," but I think that was just meant as a joke because of James constantly accusing these kids of lying about their age. But this kid, he clearly looks underage once again. Most of these kids look underage. It's just so creepy how many underage kids are coming forward. Even if the messages aren't inappropriate, it just seems like James is being reckless and not asking up front how old these kids are, or he knows their age and just doesn't care. He shouldn't be exchanging any messages with anyone underage, because the kids that keep coming forward, James is at least flirty with them right away, and then he eventually starts pressuring them into doing inappropriate things. Now the last victim I want to show you guys came forward more recently on April 10th, and this was the TikTok. The messages are interesting, so I'm going to go ahead and read them. But this first screenshot, they exchanged a ton of pictures with each other. And then on the second screenshot, which was on December 23rd, and it starts with the kid saying, "James, you have nothing like no pics of me from when we snapped, right?" And then James replies, "No." And then the kid replies, "LMAO, sorry for asking. Legit, my pics. It's fair to ask." And then James replies, "Nothing to apologize for. It just came out of nowhere. care. Don't know why you asked randomly. And then he replies with, yeah, I know, it just came into my head. I wanted to be sure, LMAO. And then James replies, okay, LOL, yeah, no. And then the kid replies, cool, thought so. And then the kid ends up DMing him again on December 30th. And the kid sends a message and says, I saw your DM, I just haven't opened it. And then he sends another message and says, wait, why did you unsend your DM? And then the next screenshot goes into James saying, just thought it was stupid of me to write in the first place. And then the kid replies, no, LOL. And then the next screenshot just shows James on Instagram and shows that he had him added. And then after that, it shows a little more of like their Snapchat history and how I guess they're best friends on Snapchat. I guess that shows like a streak, maybe. I don't know much about Snapchat, so you'll have to let me know about that in the comments below. And then the next one is a picture of James. And James is pretty much, again, being real pushy. And he put a picture of himself and he said, you're just giving a bunch of dumb excuses. And it's probably because the kid didn't want to send James something that James was asking for. I'm just speculating on that, but it just seems like a pattern of James. If the people don't do what James wants them to do, he gets really aggravated about it. And then the next screenshot starts with James and he says, oh, okay, that's dope. Good for you. How old are you? And then the kid replies with 16, don't be mad at me, LMAO. And then James puts an upside down smiley face emoji. And then the kid replies with, I hate age. I'll be 17 soon though. And then James replies, still illegal though, LMAO. And then he also says, really, LMAO. And that's the end of the screenshots. So I don't know if these were all out of order, but there is no date on this last screenshot. So it's hard to tell. But given the circumstances, if he was exchanging and building a streak with this kid and he asked him at the last minute how old he was, why isn't he asking for their ages up front? And if he asked him up front and the kid told him about his age and they still exchanged a bunch of stuff back and forth, then this DM just shows that James knew about his age up front. So it's hard to tell where this screenshot falls into the other ones. But either way, it just shows how reckless James is being and how much he doesn't care to either ask them up front about their ages before engaging into a deeper conversation or continuing to talk to these boys after they tell him they are underage. Now, the last thing I want to show you guys before I end this video is Blaire White uploaded a video on James Charles recently, and she talked about how it is an open secret in the YouTube community that James is a predator and that there have been some serious allegations regarding James Charles. Check it out.
However, I'm here to talk about why the hell he keeps getting away with it and the very interesting way in which I'm seeing people make excuses for it, make it okay, justify it. It is really not that hard to not text. It's just not. If it was that hard, everyone would be falling into that. But most people don't have this just like long history and like rap sheet of like they've been involved with. James does. Like if it was a one-time occurrence, I think you have a right for the world to forgive you. Like, oh, someone lied to him about their age. But then you have boy after boy after boy after boy. And oh, this one has his age in his bio, 16 the entire time, and James doesn't care. It's just a mess. At this point where there's smoke, there is most definitely fire. At this point, there is definitely a pattern, and James is a predator, in my opinion. And it's so crazy because people have fallen from grace for so much less. And I was thinking about this before I filmed because if you guys recall a video I did last summer about Jeffree Star, I'll link it in the description if you haven't seen it, I guess. You probably have. Where I talked about a FaceTime call I had with Jeffree where he definitely revealed a very receipt on James Charles allegedly, let's just say, violating someone. Okay, that is the receipts. And Jeffree had teased this receipt that he had, and people were very upset about it, and I was upset about it too. I don't think you should just dangle that in front of people like it's tea or drama or something. But that doesn't change the fact that it was a receipt. And after I did that video, I had influencer after influencer after influencer in my DM saying, yeah, you know, we've known this about James for so long. Like, here's this other incident that I know about and this other incident. And like, yeah, this is a problem. And it's just this big open secret that's been an open secret for so long. And yet he just keeps skating on by. So the fact that I'm someone who doesn't even have close relationships with these people and like don't often have conversations with them, to have like 4 or 5 different people who don't know each other telling me like stories, sometimes corroborating the same story. I'm like, He's been at it for a while and like no one has stopped him.
This video by Blaire White is really good. I will link it in the description box down below. She makes some really good points in this video, but the main thing I want to focus on is this open secret that is in the YouTube community. Bigger channels have had to know about this, especially the channels that constantly report on beauty community drama. There are so many people that have defended James really hard over the past year, painting him as this innocent victim. If this many people, including Blaire White, have consistently heard this stuff behind the scenes, I have no doubt that certain drama channels knew about this as well, but kept distracting and defending him. When Ethan Andrew came forward, there were so many channels heavily putting blame on him. This is a huge reason why there are so many victims now. I am going to probably get deeper into my speculation on certain channels in another video, but I encourage you to do some research of some of your favorite bigger drama channels. Watch the videos about the voice memo last year, watch the videos about Ethan Andrew, and watch other videos about James during this time, and just see which channels heavily shift blame or make excuses for James. I get defending him to a certain degree, but I am talking about being more than just bias. I know I am biased at times, but their bias is on a whole nother level. If you choose to do that research, you will see which channels are questionable and which channels had no idea. I just think a lot of them already knew about all of this, but kept defending him and painting him as this victim, which to me is just so bad, like so bad. I am not saying that every channel knew about this, but from what I've noticed, there are about 4 of them that there is something really shady going on with their relationship with James Charles. Also, it's not just drama channels either. Why didn't more people in the YouTube community speak up against James if this was an open secret for such a long time? And again, why did so many channels defend him so hard over the past year as well? When you are a bigger YouTuber, you do hear so much in the community behind the scenes. I have heard so many channels dropping hints of this. I just don't understand why nobody spoke against it when Blaire brought up this voice memo last year, and why more channels didn't defend Ethan Andrew last year either. Me personally, if I knew a creator committed an alleged SA multiple times and it was an open secret, I couldn't live with myself if I got on my platform and defended him and painted him as this victim, knowing that information. And I also just want to make it crystal clear, even if you can't tell the secret that's being told behind the scenes, don't get up on your platform and defend him knowing this information. Try to filter the information a different way is all I'm saying. But anyways, that is the end of the video. I didn't get into every single allegation against James Charles. I know that there are several that I am missing, but y'all, there are so many people at this point, it is very hard to keep track, and you guys get the idea. James Charles has some serious issues in my opinion. He needs to be held accountable for his actions, and I think he needs to be investigated for sure. Let me know in the comments below what you think about this situation, and before I go, I want to take a second to thank all my members. Thank you to Susan Canada, Sam Shaw, Katie, Phoebes, My Love Floral Foam, Starla, Lori, Beyond Help, Teresa Duffy, Leah, Green Eyed Girl, Azara Sin, Tifa, Stephanie, Leah, Zales, Liz, Diana Beth, Claire Esper, Smiley Mama, Maury, Stephanie, Emmy, Bugsy, Doublemint, The Dark Magician, Gingersnap222, Crystal, and Tina Colry. Thank you all so much for being members of my channel, and thank you all for watching. I appreciate you all so much. And before I end this video, please make sure to like, subscribe, and share, and comment down below your thoughts about the entire situation, and I will see you guys all in my next video. Bye guys.